I think about that day more than I want to admit, not because I regret it, but because of how utterly insane everything became afterward, and how it was never, ever my fault. I'm Savannah. I'm 24, and this all happened back when I was in the Army, stationed at Fort Hood, Texas. Hot, dusty, full of drama, especially barracks drama. So I had this roommate, Private First Class Harper, Jessica Harper. She was a few years older than Mia, maybe 26, always trying to act like she had it all figured out. But really, she was just messy. Not just her side of the room, though that was always a disaster. But her life, she was constantly on the phone with some guy back home, crying, or sneaking around trying to party when we had early PT, total liability. I tried to be nice, tried to give her advice, but she just wouldn't listen. She was one of those people who thought rules didn't apply to her. Our barracks room was small. Just 2 beds, 2 lockers, a tiny desk each. No privacy. Ever. And Jessica, she was always doing something stupid. The biggest thing was the weed. She smoked. A lot. And she kept it right there in our room. Not even hidden well. Just shoved in a sock in her drawer. Like, was she even trying? We were in the military. You can't just have drugs in your barracks. It's a huge deal. You get caught. It's not just a slap on the wrist. It's your career. It's everything. I swear I told her multiple times, Jess, you gotta get that out of here. If they do a shakedown, we both go down. I'm not losing my career because of your stupid habits. She'd just wave me off. Or give me some excuse about how it helped her relax. Or how no one was going to find it. She'd say, relax, Sava, you worry too much. But I wasn't worrying too much. I was being realistic. My future was on the line. We had this massive field training exercise coming up. 2 weeks in the dirt, sleeping in tents, eating MREs, constant drills. It was going to be miserable. I absolutely hate field exercises. The bugs, the sweat, the lack of showers, the yelling. My skin just crawls thinking about it. I had been dreading it for weeks. And honestly, I felt like I deserved a break. I'd been working hard, putting up with Jessica's crap, and I just needed a way out. I needed to skip that training. Not because I'm lazy, but because I was just burnt out, emotionally drained. They expect so much from us. They don't care about our mental health. I'd heard whispers about how some people got out of training rotations. If you had a legitimate medical reason, especially something mental, they'd usually cut you some slack. I started thinking, I had a rough childhood. Some stuff happened when I was a kid. Nothing I really liked talking about. Nothing super dramatic, but enough to make me feel complicated. And I figured, why not use what you've got? Right. If they're going to put me through hell, I might as well try to find a way to make it easier on myself. So I scheduled an appointment with behavioral health. I went in there, and I talked to the doctor, a Captain Rodriguez. She was a nice lady, soft-spoken. I just exaggerated things a little. I talked about how anxious I felt, how the thought of the field training made me feel trapped, how I sometimes had trouble sleeping. I didn't exactly lie. I just amplified my feelings, made it sound worse than it was. I talked about my past, hinted at some trauma, made sure to look sad and vulnerable. I even teared up a little. It wasn't hard. Really, you just have to tap into that feeling of helplessness. It usually works. Captain Rodriguez listened, nodded, wrote things down. She seemed really understanding. At the end of it, she said, Savannah, based on your symptoms and history, I recommend you be placed on temporary non-deployable status and excused from the upcoming field training. We'll start you on some therapy sessions and see how you progress. Bingo. I almost jumped for joy. No field training. I was so relieved. It felt like I'd just dodged a bullet. I walked out of that clinic feeling light, like a huge weight had been lifted. I deserved this. I really did. After everything I'd been through, after putting up with everything in the barracks, I earned a break. But then, the next day, our squad leader, Sergeant Miller, not the Miller from the other story, different one. This one was more of a burnt out type. Just tired and checked out, he called me into his office. He looked grim. Private Reynolds, he said, which is what they called me. We have a serious issue. There was a random barracks inspection last night, and they found something in your room. My heart stopped. My blood ran cold. No way. I immediately thought about the weed. Jessica's weed. I had warned her. I knew it. Sergeant, I swear, I don't know anything about that. I told Jessica to get rid of it. It's her stuff, not mine. He just looked at me. We found a baggie and a sock in the top drawer of your shared dresser, near your side. It tested positive for marijuana, but it's not mine. I practically shouted, it's Harper's. She's always got that stuff. I told her, she never listens to me. He sighed, rubbing his temples. Look, private. It doesn't matter whose it is if it's in your shared space. But we also found some other things. Paraphernalia. He held up a small pipe. The kind you buy at a head shop, with a tiny bit of burnt residue inside. My stomach turned. Jessica, that absolute idiot. She didn't even try to hide it. This was so typical of her, always dragging everyone else down with her stupid choices. Sergeant, I pleaded, trying to keep my voice from shaking. I have been trying to get her to clean up her act for months. I've told her how dangerous this is. She's just so irresponsible. I'm going to lose everything because of her. This is not fair. I could feel tears starting to well up. Real ones this time. The injustice of it all was overwhelming. Sergeant Miller just looked exhausted. Private Harper has already admitted it's hers, but command is not happy about this. It reflects poorly on the entire unit. So they started the discharge process for Jessica. It was fast. Within a few days, she was being processed out. Dishonorable discharge? Her career gone just like that. And honestly, I felt a twisted sense of relief. Good riddance. Maybe now she'd learn her lesson about being so reckless. It wasn't my fault she made bad choices. I tried to help her. It wasn't me who brought the weed into the barracks. It was all her. I thought that was the end of it. I was safe. I was out of the field training. And Jessica was gone. Problem solved. I mean, it was sad for her, I guess. But she brought it on herself. A few weeks went by. I was going to my therapy sessions, pretending to be making progress, just enough to keep them off my back. I was enjoying my downtime, getting to sleep in while everyone else was out in the dirt. I felt like I was finally getting a break I deserved. Then, one morning, I woke up to my phone blowing up. Not texts, but calls from people I hadn't talked to in months. People from other units, even some guys who had already deployed. My social media was going crazy. Facebook, Snapchat, all of it. People were posting about me, not good things. I opened Facebook first. My jaw dropped. There was a screenshot of my PTSD evaluation, the one where I had embellished. My name was right there, my symptoms, the recommendation from Captain Rodriguez, and underneath it, a caption. In bright red letters, Savannah Reynolds is a liar. She faked PTSD to skip training while real soldiers suffered. She snitched on her roommate, then lied about her mental health. What a coward. My heart pounded. My palms started to sweat. How did this get out? Then I saw the profile that posted it. Jessica Harper. Her new profile, since her old one had been deactivated. She'd put it all out there. Everything. My name, my photo. The private medical information. It was everywhere. It was going viral within the Fort Hood community. All the comments were roasting me. Fake warrior. Barracks rat. Pathetic. I called her. My hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped the phone. She picked up, and her voice was cold. Flat. What do you want? Savannah. What did you do? Jessica. Are you insane? You exposed my private medical information. This is illegal. You can't just put that out there. I was yelling, my voice cracking. She laughed. A harsh, bitter laugh. Illegal. You think I care about illegal right now? You got me kicked out. Savannah. Dishonorably discharged. My life is ruined. And for what? For a little weed that was barely hidden. That you probably knew about all along and just waited to use against me. I told you to get rid of it. I shrieked. I warned you. This is your fault, not mine. You brought that stuff in. You kept it there. Oh, really, she said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Because I remember you telling me, don't worry about it. Jess, no one cares as long as you're careful. I remember you asking me for a hit sometimes when you were stressed. What? No, I never did that. She's just making that up. She's rewriting history to make me look bad. That's a lie. Jessica, you are lying. You're making things up because you're angry. I never touched your drugs. Funny how you remember things. Savannah, she said, just like how you conveniently forgot to mention your little PTSD until it was time to skip training. Funny how you forgot about that trauma until it was useful. You're a fake. Savannah, a total fraud. And now everyone knows it. This is what you get for throwing people under the bus. She hung up, just like that. And my world came crashing down. The immediate fallout was brutal. My command found out. Obviously, they didn't even call me in for a meeting. They just sent word down through Sergeant Miller. My temporary non-deployable status was immediately revoked. I was ordered to report for the field training. Effective immediately. No excuses. I had to go. They didn't care about my PTSD anymore. It was all a joke to them. Going to that field training was hell. Everyone knew. They all knew. The whispers followed me everywhere. The stares, people avoided me openly. No one would partner with me for drills. I ate alone. I slept alone. The female soldiers in my unit, the ones I thought were my friends, they were the worst. They'd give me these cold, hard looks, or just turn their backs when I walked by. I heard them talking. That bitch, she ruined Harper's life. And for what? To play sick. They were so judgmental. They just didn't understand. They never understood what I had to go through. They just saw what Jessica wanted them to see. It wasn't just my unit. The word spread like wildfire through military wife groups, through vet TikTok, my name, my story, my picture. It was everywhere. People were making videos about me, using my name as a punchline. I was the face of military fakers, of people who exploit the system. It was humiliating. I couldn't go anywhere online without seeing my name dragged through the mud. It was constant, relentless. My actual therapy sessions, the ones I was forced into after this whole thing blew up, they were a joke. The therapist kept asking me how I felt about the consequences of my actions. Consequences. It was Jessica's fault. She's the one who brought the weed. She's the one who exposed my private information. I was the victim here. They just wanted me to admit I did something wrong, but I didn't. I was just trying to survive. I was doing my best. And they made it worse. They were just trying to gaslight me, make me question myself. They didn't dishonorably discharge me, probably because they couldn't prove that I deliberately lied on the PTSD eval, just that I had exaggerated. But my military career was effectively over. I wasn't going to get promoted. I was stuck. They transferred me to a different company, a different battalion, hoping to make the problem disappear. But everyone still knew. I was branded. My unit didn't trust me. My leaders watched me like a hawk. Every mistake I made, no matter how small, was magnified. They kept score. They constantly reminded me of my past issues. I got out a year later. As soon as my contract was up, no re-enlistment bonus, no good recommendations. Just a general discharge under honorable conditions. Which sounds okay, but it's still a mark. It means I wasn't a problem child, but I wasn't someone they wanted to keep. My dreams of making a career out of the military, of getting my retirement, it was all gone. Because of Jessica, because of her stupidity and her bitterness, now I'm back in Michigan, living with my parents. I work at a retail store, folding clothes. It's boring, soul-crushing work. All my friends from the army are gone. They moved on, got promoted, deployed again. They probably talk about me behind my back. They probably think I deserved it, but they don't know the whole story. They don't know what I was going through. They never supported me. They always made me feel like I had to fight for everything. Jessica, I saw a post from her the other day. Some military wife group I accidentally stumbled upon. She's working some civilian job now. Apparently, she's got a whole new life. She even posted a picture of herself with a new boyfriend. A growth mindset man who understands her struggles. Gag, she got to move on. Got to escape the consequences of her actions. While I'm stuck here, she ruined my life. And she's out there living it up. It's not fair. I still stand by what I did. I had to protect myself. I had to look out for number one because no one else was going to. Jessica brought that on herself. And the PTSD thing? I mean, who's to say what's real and what's not when you're under that much stress? They put us through so much and then they expect us to be perfect. They don't understand. I was doing my best and they made it worse. I don't care what anyone thinks. I really don't. They can judge me all they want. It won't change the fact that I was the one who was wronged.